Crap! That was my only friend!
I'm here and you're there.
Yeah, what's going on
Oh.
here? Do you know what's going on?
I don't know how it works. I think the internet is a series of tubes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it works.
That's exactly right. It's a series of tubes, and actually, it's a series of Campbell's soup cans tied together by strings, like you used to make when you were a kid. And you're like, "I got a secret message for you."
Yeah.
Yes, or you can use a joy, a bottle of dishwashing liquid, put a string in there, tie a knot, and create a walkie-talkie.
Or with the joy, you could make a bubble and put a word into it, and then it travels, and then it pops, and you hear the word.
Yeah, well, that's these are all future
Like how
forms
you, you know.
of communicating.
Right.
But check this out. The reason I wanted to do this 937 via Skype is because we have so many people in this area that don't seem to be quite caught up on some of the technology. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I think is such a powerful tool, I've been using it to do some tutoring with students, is Skype. And Skype is like the best thing for a PR agent. Say someone's like promoting a show or they've got news. They can get on Skype, call us at Dayton Informer, that's our Skype handle, and they could be doing a video with us that easy. All it would take is we have built-in small cameras on our laptops. You've got one over there,
Mm-hmm.
a decent internet connection, and you've got a video. And we do split screen interviews. We've done them before, and I just wanted to do this for the first time to tell everybody, get Skype, dial us, arrange to dial us. If you have something you'd like to say, a news bit you'd like to pass along, it's all good. We can do it via Skype. And it allows us to save fossil fuels from being released into the air when we drive somewhere to do an interview that could be done this way.
Right.
Ain't that right?
It's right.
Well, anyway, what
News sources RT uses Skype quite often.
RT uses Skype, Al Jazeera uses Skype, and Google Plus. We're going to be experimenting with Google Plus as well.
Yeah.
But until we get that going on, let's talk about the topics of the week.
Let's do it.
And oh my, there's a few hornets' nests in the making right now. I would say the number one would be the Methadone Clinic right behind Daybreak Teen Shelter and right down the road from Chaminade Julian High School.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
A lot of people seem to think, as you do, that it's not a real good idea.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, though, that it's legal.
Right. It's just
Um,
not wise and appropriate, and it's not being sensitive to the area. Um, and it happens all the time. Yeah.
sure. So it looks like we're going to have another methadone clinic, barring some sort of hidden legal challenge by someone that knows something about a law to stop methadone clinics that we don't know about.
Right.
But the gentleman has a methadone clinic down in Cincinnati. And last week they had a private meeting in the Key Bank Tower with people, with the owner. I don't know how good of a PR move that was on the city of Dayton's part. I think the guy required that he only wanted to talk to certain quote unquote stakeholders, which is
Sure.
kind of an insult to democracy. At least,
Well,
I mean, when you think about it.
well, it absolutely is, but it's also kind of the name of the game these days with, this idolization of corporations and that business is always good, no matter what it is, no matter where it is. Um, and so we get these things. We get these people having meetings that don't include the community. And of course, they don't include the community because people would be like, no, we don't want that here. And they'd raise a stink about it. So they do it in secret. They do it on purpose.
Yeah, and as last I knew, they were called public officials. And, as of, I don't want to be, Johnny Sergeant Rock, but really, as a veteran, they tell you you fight for freedom and the Constitution and yada, yada, yada. And at the very, very core of any ideas of democracy are open and public meetings with public officials.
Right,
And,
right.
if someone like me is going to say, hey, I'll jump in front of a bullet if I have to ensure your right to meet in public with public officials in open meetings,
Right.
it makes me, it would just make, logically, it would make someone of my ilk say, well, yeah, those are the kind of people I really wouldn't fight for. Also, this week, there was an article in the Dayton Daily News. I noticed it in the City of Dayton Commission minutes, upcoming agenda, that Coco's the restaurant would be the recipient of a $100,000 loan to help them move from their current location to their new location. What do you feel about that? Some people have said Coco's is a good restaurant. We need it into Dayton. I think that kind of skips the argument of should public monies go to certain businesses, or should we have a pot that goes and we split it all evenly among businesses? Or should we give them any money at all? Because we're paying for taxes and.
Well, the city gives lots of money to lots of businesses, but they do pick and choose, and it's certainly not an equitable situation in most cases.
Yeah, Tim Riordan told us last summer that they really don't have any kind of criteria for who they pick. So, to me, without that transparent process that would be open to everyone as to who gets the money and how, the system is just always going to be ripe. Maybe not with corruption, but at least the appearance that corruption is very possible in the city of Dayton.
Well, yeah, and again,
hey, I'm just saying it the way it is.
I totally agree with you, and it's not a surprise though, because again, look at the time that we're living in right now. Government and business, this is how it is, but it's always a pick and choose. It's always like, I know this guy, or he can do that for me. It's not like a genuine, like, we're going to help all small businesses, anybody who wants to start a business, if it's a legitimate business plan and yada, yada, you go through all the hoops. It seems that they have favorites, and that's kind of the way government works on a small and a large scale. That's where we are right now, and it is corruption, but it's like legitimized somehow by these people that do it, and they say, well, this is the way.
It's a nice place and it's good for the city, which, I mean, who's going to disagree with that? I mean, it's a nice restaurant.
And
we need nice restaurants. We need employers.
Right.
But at the same time, were they in such dire financial straits that they needed a loan like this? And if so, and as well, there's another subject, is they're leaving a building to go into a new one. What's going into the old one? Is this an equitable move to, put tax dollars up like that?
I think it's all part of. They're going to revitalize that part of. Is it Brown Street?
Yeah.
Brown Street.
There's quite a move and a lot of activity over there.
I kind of see. I can see that the city. They say they want to invest in building the city and keeping nice things in the city and improving, but then again, it goes back to how they pick and choose. Coco's got some money last year for a green parking lot at their new space,
which was a transportation grant.
Oh, okay.
From, but at the same time, it's tax money. A lot of times government entities they couch it. Oh, it was money from the federal government. But still, all of our tax money. That pot that we all pay to.
Back to that, right? It does come back to that. I just think it's not fair how they pick and choose, and they let some there are lots of businesses that close and die, or lots of people who want to start businesses, and the city gives a lot to a bunch of crap. I think they could do more, and I think they give they treat Coco's very well. Coco's is nice. They do good business. They bring people into the city to eat there, but I think it needs to be more equitably shared. A lot of
Or
money going to these weird, the bigger players.
well, how do you solve that other than saying, you know, this situation made me think of, you know, as a city manager, Tim Riordan's kind of like a first sergeant in the Army. And the number one rule of any first sergeant is be so fair that it's disgusting. Because if you don't have that kind of fairness, and he's not looked upon like he's looked upon as if he has favorites,
Hmm.
then you're going to have dissension in the ranks.
Hmm.
And is there an equitable solution? I don't know. I think maybe the only equitable solution would be just to gut any kind of economic development that's going directly to businesses and take all that money and throw it in infrastructure, things like the cops on the beat in the business district, revitalized park programs. I mean, those core things that make a community worth living in. I
Right.
would say, since they're not being tended to in a large part, that's where you got to go.
I agree, and we talked about that last week. Specifically talking about the Santa Clara district and how, when cops abandon a space, it goes
Our
to hell.
vacuums
Um,
are always filled.
and if we can, we do these things that, like you talked about, with dealing with the infrastructure, that promotes more interest in people wanting to actually come to the city. It brings more interest into the city. Um, So yeah, I think they make some bad decisions sometimes about what they do, and yes, they do some things that help, but I think that they could be doing more. I think they could be, like you said, putting that money into the city to make it good for all, not just for one group of
One
people.
a clique
Right, right,
of people with folks with money, and
right.
you could probably see most of them inside Coco's on a Friday or Saturday night,
That's true.
or not most of them, but a good collection of them.
You
So
know, the only I don't know how you solve it because it's like embedded in how our government works on the
yeah, it's like
local.
it's like almost how they think.
Right.
Like that's how they woke up that morning and the way everything was.
Right,
Hmm.
right. And so, yeah, I say it all the time.
It's
I
hard to
think
beat.
everyone should be fired. Everyone in the whole government should be fired. And of course that's not going to happen. But this is the thought that the status quo is not going to change because of that baseline.
This
So-
is normal.
right.
Yeah, our
When you
madness is normal.
right. So our society is not fair, and we have government officials that, well, there's so much disinterest in politics, and the people that do vote vote these people in are misinformed often, and
Yeah, City of Dayton has horrendously low turnout.
uh,
It's really embarrassing.
well, people are turned off because they know how the system is.
I've heard lots of people say they just gonna do what they want to do anyway.
Right, and they make up rules or they change rules as they go along, and they play just off the cuff, like Riordan said. We don't have a set criteria, we don't have a set of standards on how we choose to divvy out money. It's just on a case by case basis. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. And
Fair,
if you want some
clearly.
answers to some problems, you need to go back to the old first sergeant's credo and make it so fair that everyone's about sick of your fairness.
Well, I think that's values of the Occupy movement, and that it sparked a conversation in the greater public about money in politics and this corruption and this cronyism, and nothing. If we don't stop it, we're not going to see change in anything. Because the status quo sucks, and it just has to be changed, or
Yeah, all I do is hear people complaining about up here about how broke they are, how they can't find jobs, Uh, everyone in TESOL is like, I can't wait to get out of this country when I get my TESOL degree. That's why I got in TESOL, so I can leave America.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to say
And
that,
that's
but
sad. That's sad.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, these
we're
are all bright people.
we're about to implode because we live in big corporate is king, profits at any cost.
And when that's been bred into your wake up normality, it's it'll take something like massive to shake that.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so, we do our small part here. We get criticized for being negative, talking about what city officials and city planners are doing. They're the only ones that get upset about the things that we say.
Yeah, we get people come up to us on the street. They're like, "We love everything you guys are saying. Keep it up. Keep going." So that's
So
what we're gonna do.
if you shake up the establishment and you get them pissed off at you, then you're doing the right thing because they need to be shaken up because status quo sucks. The status quo sucks.
You said it, sister. There's about nothing more we can say tonight. I'm going to head upstairs and finish this draft of this paper.
All right.
Get through class somehow. I'll try to stay awake. What's
hat.
that?
I said you're looking very dapper in your new hat from Brim.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I liked Brim, and they had it's a nice thing, but they had some cool hats for a guy like me who's not wanting to spend $1 million.
And who's got a big old head.
Yeah, I got a big old melon head. And yeah, there's something for everybody. And if you want to look like Pimp Daddy Hat of the Year, they got that too. So, but yeah, this is my Clark Kent. I'm signing off, Audra. This is
right.
David Sparks. Hey, baby, I love you too.
All right.
Peace be to you and everyone watching.
All right.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I've done everything you've asked me to do. I can't do it anymore. Can you purify me? Will you get out of my head and into my stomach?